Hey, it's Tuesday, Total Schmidt Show. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Look, I'm in my room still. Still in my room. Go figure. You know who's not in my room? Alex Nussbaum, but he's on the show today. Buckle up. Hey, welcome to Total Schmidt Show. Whether you're watching on the Lenny Schmidt Comedy Network on YouTube or you're listening on podcast, we have a new intro, new theme song. Let's do this. Hey, tune in every week as I travel the world and I talk to entertainers from all over the world. A lot of writers, a lot of comics, a lot of dancers, a lot of singers, a lot of comics, a lot of producers, a lot of tech people, a lot of comics, a lot of pianists, piano player type people. You know what I'm talking about. Musicians and lots of comics. Every once in a while, we'll throw in a comedy sketch, something like that, some music, some travel stuff. We'll even do a live remote from one or two of the ports they happen to be hanging out at. That's it. That's the whole show. Then I'm going to record it all and put it on the intraweb. Sometimes. Usually late. Always late. Maybe. I don't know. And weekly? Nah, maybe. Sort of. Either way, sit back, grab a beer, light a joint, and enjoy this week's episode of Total Schmidt Show. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's Tuesday night on Total Schmidt Show. Here's 6 o'clock if you're watching on YouTube, or sometime Wednesday when the podcast is released. Do me a favor, follow the show, subscribe to the show on YouTube. I always mention, like the video. First of all, that'd be cool if you're watching the video. Subscribe to the podcast, all that stuff. We could use your support. I'm not drunk. It's morning, and I just woke up, and I'm trying to get it together. Basically, I talk to entertainers all over the place. This time, I talked to a friend of mine at the Universal Bar and Grill. We met at the Universal Bar and Grill through a mutual friend, Henry Phillips, who's been on my show twice. And Alex is a very funny comic that comes out and does my show in L.A. once a month. And I wanted to have him on the show, so he's here today. Do me a favor, like I said, support the show. If you look above me and you're watching on video, you can see the information for YouTube. You can find the information for the website. Everything is at MrLennySchmidt.com or Mr. Lenny Schmidt. All social media platforms are Mr. Lenny Schmidt. And if you want to support the show, please follow, subscribe to the web pages and the YouTube. But just as importantly, if you want to support the show financially, you can do so by going to the website, LennySchmidt.com. In fact, if you look above me, there's a whole bunch of information on how you can support the show. We have no sponsors or commercials or nothing. The show is supported solely by the subscribers and the people who watch the show up to this point right now. So far, we have no sponsors. But if you want to be one, go to LennySchmidt.com, click the Pay If You Can button, and that's an option for you to support the show. So sit back and enjoy my conversation with my good friend, Alex Nussbaum. Look at you with the fancy backdrop. That's nice. Most guys fucking call me from their fucking basement. They look like prisoners when I'm interviewing them. It's like a CNN interview.
I had a lot of options, and I decided to go with the nice decor.
I like it, man. It's almost like a real house.
I tried my best. Yeah,
it's very classy. It's 2 S's, right? BAUM.
That's right.
Got it. Perfect. I had Ken Gar on yesterday. Ken Gar, his Instagram is Ken Gar was taken.
That's good.
I laughed my ass off. I go, that's perfect, because mine was like Lenny Schmidt was taken. Some guy who still to this day, I checked it 5 years ago. So to this day, this guy's got like 4 pictures. I don't know what the deal is, but it's really annoying. So I changed everything to Mr. Lenny Schmidt.
I did something like that with Twitter. The guy had Alex Nussbaum, and he's a writer, a journalist for what's called Bloomberg.
Oh, right.
And I actually reached out to him and said, hey, he didn't seem to be using it that much. I was like, if you don't mind me taking it, he said, yeah, sure. He created his own, another one. And then now, like, if I'll use get Google alerts, it's all from him. I got nothing going on. It's all him.
So if there's anything going on in the politically, I just need to reach out to you. Seems like you'll have they'll have the hookup.
Yeah.
All right, that's
totally.
Genius. How's it going, bro?
I'm doing A-okay. How you doing?
I'm good. Are you at home? I'm home this week and next week, or last week and this week. I had family stuff, so I was able to take some time off, just hang out.
And home is
here, L.A. Here it's here. You're here, right? You're in L.A.
Yeah. I'm in Studio City. I'm just wondering, like, what part of L.A.
Yeah, I'm Sherman Oaks, so I'm right next to you. So,
well, look at that. That's good.
Yeah.
Good thing we're doing this online.
I know. Every comic I know lives within 5 miles of my house. Sometimes I'll be on a ship and I'll meet a guy for the first time and I'll go, "Hey, where do you live?" And they go, "I live in Sherman Oaks, right by the Fat Burger." I'm like, "I live in Sherman Oaks, right by the Fat Burger." We live like 2 doors away from each other. There's a lot of comics live up here in the valley, man.
I'm starting to get that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's for a while it was the cheapest. It still is the cheapest place to move into in LA. And then with a lot of us, we're not here that much. We're either canceling, we're traveling, or going somewhere, or moving around. And some guys have roommate situations. You have your own place. You have a roommate or your family. I don't know.
Well, it was what happened was I was actually in Hollywood, and during the pandemic, it was just becoming less attractive.
Dude, so horrible. Oh my God.
And I wasn't too far off the 101 exit, and it's just it was just getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like just more homeless. And I had gotten married during the lockdown. So we just started looking for another place, and we ended up finding a place in Studio City. I'm still renting, but it was
we're all renting, brother. I got news for you.
I just feel like, people they move to the valley to buy a house sometimes, you know what I mean? So
yeah, they used to. I looked years ago. The days of me buying a house in this area are gone. There's no way I'm going to be able to buy anything here. I don't think ever. An average house around the area where I live, it's like 1.2 or something like that, or 1.3. It's just it's insane. Even condos are like $500,000 now. They're just. If I move, it's going to have to be, a suburb of Bakersfield or something like that. I'm going to have to go buy a shed in a field somewhere.
Sure.
But I'm already looking at somewhere.
Let's not discount wild success. You know what I mean? Like let's
keep that dream alive after 35 years of thinking I'm going to hit something. Yeah. Well, as long as I'm making a living and surviving, that's all I care about. I've got to the point now to where I'm like, because I used to want to buy a house and have all the, I had all the dreams when you first moved here, but the big house and the TV show and all that stuff. And then as you work, you start to learn what you learn that you can make a living and actually make a pretty good living and everything. And that's not terrible. It's not bad. You're just not a household name. You're not known by everybody. But now you got to tailor your lifestyle around basically what it is you make for a living and what you do. And I would have moved out of LA years ago if it wasn't for my daughters. They wanted to come back here and go to school. So once they're out of school, I think I'm leaving LA. It's just I don't see any reason to stay here anymore. The weather's good.
What was the option? Where do you think you'd move to?
They were in Chicago they were born here, but then when I got divorced, my ex moved to Chicago and took them, and that's when I started doing shifts. I wasn't doing shifts before then. So then I figured, well, I'll just do shifts all the time and go to Chicago between the shifts. So I saw my kids a lot. I go to Chicago a lot. So I was going to move to Chicago, and they talked me out of that because they didn't want to stay in Chicago. They wanted to come back here. But then I was looking at Vegas, it's still not a bad option, but about 5 to 8 years ago, it was a really great option. And I almost could have bought something outside of Vegas 5 to 8 years ago. But now I'm looking at, in the long run, I'm honestly thinking maybe Mexico. Playa del Carmen is a cool area. There's a lot of expats there and a lot of ex-entertainers that live in that area. And I know some people that own the property. Yeah, so I might go. I'll look there. I love Mexico, first of all. I love it. I go there a lot on the ships. And I just need to learn Spanish. I don't know why I don't know Spanish yet, just because I'm lazy. But Playa del Carmen, and they looked at some places in Tennessee. I wouldn't mind a place in Tennessee. In Florida, I hate the weather in Florida. And the only area I like in Florida is kind of the Tampa area. The rest of Florida, I think, is not great. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the humidity. I mean, that's one of the things that keeps me in LA too. Is just I like the dry weather. I like the I mean, it's like aside from the business, it's like if that wasn't an issue, I'd be thinking, where else can I go where I can have this kind of climate? Because I grew up and lived a lot of my life in Toronto, and so in terms of cold and hot, what do you call it? Humidity, I can do without that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of I'm cool with the dry desert weather, and and winter. I'd like to stay away from winter. Like Chicago winter wasn't great. I would really like to stay away.
Chicago, Toronto are kind of similar, I think.
Yeah, and Arizona wasn't a bad place either. Even Flagstaff isn't bad because it still gets kind of mountain cold, and you know what I mean. I like that, so it can get cold, but it's not crazy Chicago Midwest cold. It's kind of like the mountains cold, which I can almost handle. I can handle 40s. It doesn't get to 30 below up there. They get snow, which is fine. But anywhere I would live, at least in the short term, would have to be near a major airport. So that's the main thing I look at is an airport. So that's all I really care about. And then I don't need much. Like my requirements have gone down. Like if I'd like to be able to watch my football games, and I want a Wi-Fi feed and a kitchen, and that's all, and a good bed, and that's all I really care about. I would enjoy a patio where I could smoke a cigar, and then after that, that's it. I'm good. I don't need pools, yards, none of the shit. None of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just a dwelling.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't really need a big space. I mean, my wife and I are the same way, where we're like, as long as it's got like enough space, that's cool. I don't need like a ton of stuff. Having my own pool would be all right, though. I think it'd probably be good in the long run for fitness to just be able to swim whenever you want.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Do you guys, do you have a pool in you're in a complex, right?
No, actually, it's like kind of like a mini house.
That's cool.
For like just an apartment. It's pretty nice actually, because it's like we were looking for just like an apartment, and then this thing came up, and it's not like huge. It's not like huge square footage, like particularly the storage isn't great, but I'll tell you, having a patio and just like a driveway out front, and like living relatively centrally in all that too, because I mean you can get a house with obviously with a patio and a driveway, anywhere else, but being a little more close to things is nice.
Yeah, plus you're in Studio City, which is a great location. It's really nice there.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, I'm actually right at the edge. I'm like right like 1 block away from where Sherman Oaks begins.
All right, don't belittle it, my town. Don't take a shot at my town.
No. Actually,
I'm actually a block near you.
I was looking for Sherman Oaks because my cousin lives in Sherman Oaks, and he was like telling me, "Oh, this is where you want to be," kind of thing. And we ended up finding this place. But by the way, I just want to say that this app is kind of funny. It has this weird distracting thing, which I thought for a moment I lost you, because it goes full page of me looking at myself.
That's not. Well, you know what that is? I'm producing the show from here. So when you talk, sometimes I put. You just go up, so then your name pops up.
You're doing it live.
Yeah, every once in a while somebody goes.
A little warning, because I honestly thought I lost you for a second. And
I know.
I don't think I lost him. I'm going to keep talking just in case.
Dude, I like how you did, because yesterday John's across was like, what happened? Where'd you go? What are you doing? What's up? And he just stopped. I'm like, I'm doing, and John had done the show twice before. I go, John, you know what I'm doing. I'm giving you that's your one shot. I zoom in on you sometimes, and it's either the two of us or it's you. That's just all I do, back and forth. And then I edit it afterwards before I post it up.
That's pretty cool, actually. I've never been on a vMix call.
Yeah, it works. I love it. I did this all during COVID, and I haven't done the vMix option live on the internet in a while, because now I bring this on the road with me, like when I travel on ships and stuff. So I can produce this live, like at a port. It'll be me, like you would be here, but I have another camera on you, and I would just use that feed. The software itself is the same software they use for like CNN and ESPN. It's a similar OBS platform that I could produce any type of show from this laptop, it's phenomenal. It's so good that I know this much of it. You know what I mean? Like I know this much, like to do my show. Yeah. Like I could do a whole hour-long show on here if I took the time to upload it and read it all and followed it, because it's amazing. There were a couple shows I did during COVID that were pretty amazing with graphics and all kinds of stuff. And it's a lot of work to program it all. And then I get lazy. What I do is I get a template format. So now I shoot this, and I'll edit it I feed it into my Final Cut Pro, and my Final Cut Pro has all the graphics and captions already loaded. So when I put the video in over it, the captions go over the top, and I just put them together, and it just comes out as one big episode. So it works out easy.
So that's the way you got to do it. You got to go template. You know what I mean? It's got to just be.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm doing I could produce this here, but then I have a Stream Deck, which I have to update it. But then you push buttons. Like I would push buttons for I don't know if I have I do. Hold on. I'll show you one right now. While we're talking about it. But I have all these other graphics. Here we go. No, that's not it.
And Jerry Todd over here. It's a very old reference. SCTV reference.
Okay, I think there's one. There you go. See that? Did you see that? Go. Yeah, that's one. Yeah. There's a million of these different things.
Very much.
I got that.
It reminds me a lot of SCTV.
There's you. And I got there's your name. There it is. That's your name. Ooh, you know what I mean? And then I can do I think I can do probably
like classics.
There we
70s. Oh yeah.
There's some little feed-ins. I didn't change the overlays. Oh, there you go. There's one that comes in.
Oh, nice.
Overlays back and forth.
Pull up the call letters. Look at that. That's amazing.
I used to have a ticker, but for some reason the ticker thing always screws up on me. And let's see, it's gone.
What's a ticker do?
There you go. See the ticker?
Feeds?
See the
Oh,
ticker?
I see. There you go.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
problem
got
with the
it.
ticker is, let me see.
Right across my forehead. I can't
It
miss
is,
it.
yeah, that's the problem. Is but I can move it. Like, hold on, it's just
You spell TikTok with a C,
there we go.
like Tic
See,
Tac.
you move it up there.
Yeah.
There we go. Did I see?
Only
People always
fans. Look up.
people always correct my shit. See, so but anyway, that's it. And the thing with the TikTok is, I don't know what happens with the ticker. Every once in a while, like I'll load the ticker, and the ticker used to have colors. And I put one ticker was for my social media, and one was for sponsoring the website and the podcast and stuff. And I would flip between the tickers. But for some reason, with the software, when you update it, it cleans and erases all the text from the tickers and changes it. So when I click the ticker, it just comes up as gibberish. That's how they like it. That's the template is for it is gibberish. So then I'm like, mother, now I got to change the whole. And then that's when I went, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because I got the ticker on the Final Cut Pro. So now I just put it in, and now the ticker goes right over the top, and it takes me like 4 minutes to do that. So
Right.
But I'll take time.
Sometime.
I'll take time next week to update this because then when I do this live from ports, I need the proper feeds. I need the proper stuff. You know what I mean?
When you do live from ports, you're doing it off of but you are talking to somebody elsewhere,
no, usually
like the person being right there.
What I'm trying to do is, and I've done it 3 times now. It's worked great. I just need to do it more. I'll get off like in Cozumel. There's a place called the Thirsty Cougar I go to. It's a bar. And I walk in and bring my stuff. And I go, you just mind if I do a podcast? I go, no. And I'll do this show used to be live during COVID. I used to do it live every night at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. So people would tune in. And you could watch it on YouTube. And I could comment and talk to people back and forth. And people could it was like interactive. So now what I do is when I'm at a port, I'll have a guest. Like if you and I were on a ship or something, I'd go to Thirsty Cougar. I'd set up the equipment. I have a camera here for me, and I have a camera for you. And we would go live. And people that are my subscribers, followers, and Patreon, they could watch the show live as we did it. So we could. So we'd be live on the internet. We'd be streaming live. So they would get it, and they would ask questions that way. Because that was when it was cool. People would go, like, where's Alex from? Hey, Alex, where are you from? Hey, I saw you in Kentucky, whatever. So you talk back and forth. So now I just leave that. Every once in a while, I'll do one of those for everybody to try and build more followers. But for the most part, I try to do it for my Patreon members. So they get, that's like a bonus. That's one of the bonuses they get as a Patreon member. And then I take that episode, and I edit it, and I put it on the actual, this show streams every Tuesday at 6. So, like last night was my buddy Todd Adamson. Next week is Alonzo Bowden, and then you'll be up probably later in June. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it's going to go. Yeah. So anyway, I like it. I like doing it because I like talking to everybody about. I always all entertainers and stuff, and we talk about traveling. So I like doing the show. I just try to constantly keep trying to build it. You know what I mean? And then you can also listen to it on a podcast too. So
that's cool. And you have the background theme of the high seas as a way to
I do. I actually have. I don't think I have it here. And I actually have a motion one. I have a video of the ocean.
Oh, really? That's just make people seasick while they're watching this.
Yeah, they could do that. Sometimes they do that, but it's
just in Premiere Pro, just have us just slightly.
Yeah, just like that's a good idea. I should try and do that once. People are watching the show, like I can't watch the show. I don't feel well. Like, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to create a real experience for you.
I'm just trying to make it cool, man. Yeah. So what do you got going on, man? What do you do when you going out again? Are you doing much road stuff, or are you staying close to town?
Staying close to town up until like September. I'm going to go back up to Toronto. We'll do Toronto and Ottawa. Just tape a little something. I haven't recorded anything like album wise, so I'm going to record an EP, just a little something. For the last year, mostly I've been kind of like playing around with learning YouTube production, like to make like a YouTube show.
Yeah.
So like I have that's one of the things I have a second bedroom that's my studio, and so I'm basically built a studio with a backdrop and lighting and everything there, and it looks pretty all right, but I'm just not there. It's all like pre-production, and then I want to make a kind of a YouTube show / podcast that's like about futurism, about where we're heading in the future.
Oh, that's a great idea, dude. See, that's what this is. This is a YouTube show that people watch. It'll be on, it runs on the YouTube on Tuesday at 6. But everybody needs to do that stuff now, man. That's a brilliant idea. Get your own, it's all niche stuff now. You get enough followers for your niche stuff, and people dig it, and people are into it.
Yeah, it's like finding what other than comedy, like what can you find something that somebody else might be interested in? For me, it's like before comedy, high school, first year university was science, and I like the idea of really examining where the hell we're going, and trying to make it funny, you know. It's and also based a little bit too on like prophecy and stuff. I have a brother who became born again Christian, and so when I was like a teenager, I heard a lot about like what was going to happen with Bible prophecy. So I thought like I'll kind of even insert a little bit of like different cultures, different prophecy, and just kind of like say play around with the idea of like what could our possible future be? Kind of strange stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's brilliant though, because I used to watch a show called Supernatural. I don't know if you ever watched Supernatural.
I think so. Yeah, it's like you mean like a drama,
yeah, it was a drama about the two brothers that used to go around and fight demons and stuff. But they played they played stuff from the actual Bible and prophecy into the show. So a lot of the characters were actual characters that were from things that had happened in the past in the Bible, and they're all based on we're heading toward the rapture. Oh no, we got to stop Satan from. But I've always been really intrigued on the what could happen, what if, and what might happen, and how much of that is true, and how much we're directed in that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that's always a really intriguing thing to me. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like well, I mean, you know, my brother told me all about the rapture and that sort of thing, and you know, I mean, you know, I'm still waiting, see what happens. You know what I mean?
well, good.
Like he hasn't left yet. He's still hanging out.
Right.
So, you know, but there are elements of like I think we all feel for the last 5 years in particular, 5 to 10 years, it feels like I mean, are these end times? Because there's a lot going wrong, you know, and
you start to
compounded on that is like the idea of like technology that's like going way out there, like where we're talking about things like gene editing, and obviously AI is on everybody's lips now,
right?
You know, so it's like all these things that could be. It's like, oh, will that do us in, or will that do us in, or will it save us? And you know, that's kind of the idea of like, it's almost like for me, this is like an excuse to learn more about it while making something, you know?
Yeah,
so I think way it's not.
That's a good. No, that's totally that's true. And a lot of this stuff, dude, a lot of this stuff too, it's almost like it's proving movies true. Like I always look at things like, dude, I look at things like The Hunger Games and The Matrix, you know. And a lot of times you're like, we're kind of headed that direction. You know what I mean? You're kind of headed that direction with the future of the world, the way, especially with AI, the way things are going. You know, eventually the robots are just going to be running everything. And then the Hunger Games, the separation of the 1% and the people that have nothing. I mean, it's just there's so many things that it seems like they predict the truth that's weird that you look at in the future. That's why doing something creative and predicting the future or looking at the future it's so intriguing to me, because a lot of times you're on the right mindset. You know what I mean? You see where we're going. Although, I never would have guessed COVID. I never would have guessed the way it played out. Like the whole shutdown.
Right.
I mean, it happened so fast. I was like, and that's
so
what
fast.
I thought.
That was interesting.
Yeah, and
that was where we I think that we all, and it also gave us like a pause where that pause was like, oh yeah, that's right. I mean, I guess we were just hustling so much that the idea of what happens when we can't do that, what does that feel like?
Yeah,
because that's really what life is. Like everything else is just stuff to distract us, right? So
right.
That was an interesting experiment.
Yeah, that's a huge. That's huge, because I always tell people this. Like during COVID, I mean, of course, I wasn't working; it sucked. But the rest of it, it wasn't bad. You know, me and my daughters lived together during that time, and we had a pretty good time, man. I mean, we cooked, we hung out, we talked. There was it's not like we wanted to kill each other. And then it was after, I remember the first few weeks were stressful, you know, and the first month or so I drank a lot, you know, and then as time settled in, we really got into this whole, well, let's just ride it out, man. Let's just see, you know, what are we going to do today? It was almost like back in the old West, where you're like, let's go for a hike today. And you go for a hike, and you come back. And I mean, of course, we had technology, which made it a lot different, because we could go on the internet and do all these other things. But the connection, my daughters and I connected really good during COVID, and it really made you look at the big picture and think about what really was important. That's a huge issue they're having now with people and employees at work and stuff, you know?
Yeah, it is a weird thing, though, that COVID honestly was like kind kind of a horror for some, but a gift for others. Like that was,
Right.
like some people who went through the worst of it versus people who were luckily
Yeah.
unscathed and just got more time and got a chance to reevaluate. Like that's not really that fair, is it? And part of that has to do with the comfort of having your finances somewhat taken care of, so you didn't have to worry in the same way that some people would.
Right.
So yeah, so that's like it's funny because like I look at the positives that I got out of it, but then again it's good to at least be aware that I was really lucky during that time to not have to deal with anything else.
Yeah, I got I got friends in Mexico. Like, I mean, it really in the long run, financially, whatever route you got here in the U.S., I was taken care of. Like, you know what I mean? I eventually it took a few weeks to get everything into place, but then you're like, oh, okay, all right, I got money coming in. I will be able to eat. We'll be able to survive. We'll be able to do good. But I got friends now. I know in Mexico, two buddies of mine that I work with on a ship. They maxed out every credit card they had. There was none of that stuff in Mexico. They used their credit cards for everything, and they're in massive debt. And then there's a lot of other countries that are like that. I know a couple of guys, man. Not India, one guy from India and one guy from Turkestan. One guy's a DJ. He was a great DJ. He used to do huge parties. He was real popular, and he did. He couldn't get any support during COVID. Drove him into bankruptcy. Now he's working on cruise ships, making way less money than he was. So some of the other countries, man, they didn't, they didn't get any support. I mean, they struggled.
Right.
Now they're digging themselves out of that crap.
Yeah, that's and again, like that is something that like I kind of take for granted that I wasn't hit in that way. But yeah, you look at a guy who was already successful, had everything worked out. That's such a pain in the ass where suddenly that's all upended, and then you have to figure out. It's like, oh well, now I just went 2 steps back. I got to work my way back to
Yeah, I felt that way a little bit when it happened. Like, because I swear to God, I always have this conversation. Not a week, 2 weeks before COVID, I had a conversation with somebody and expressed how my job was bulletproof. I go, my job is bulletproof, man. If you think about it, everybody wants to laugh. I go, they're building cruise ships left and right. I go, I'm in with all these different lines. They're constantly calling me. I mean, for 20 years I can do these ships. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna lose my job. Someone's always gonna crew. And then not a month later, everything is shut down, and I'm just like, holy crap! Like, everything's gone now. I was way wrong about that bulletproof.
Right. Yeah, goddamn, man. I'll tell you, anytime that I try to assert any kind of confidence in knowing anything, the good Lord shuts me down real fast. I always get a big slice of humble pie every time.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. I know that from my experience. So I really try. I've learned. I definitely, one of my life lessons is try not to judge anything too much, because I might just find myself in that exact spot that I was judging. So I'm like, all right, I'll take anything.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, how far along are you on the YouTube show? Are you taping stuff? And you said you're in pre-production.
Well, I was getting far enough along. Like, I had everything worked out technical wise, and I was just going to start writing and recording things. But then I got sort of sidetracked where I realized that I should. I had some footage I've been sitting on for a while that I was going to use for, demos and stuff like that. Actually, it's funny. I was partly because of the cruise ship demo. I was thinking like, oh, I should put together like a clean amount from this footage, and then I realized, well, to put it together, I'm going to need to figure out what works best anyway. So I'll just cut the whole thing as a full like headline. And now it spent months like editing it to make it a pretty much a YouTube stand-up special. So which is funny that I'm talking to you now, because I'm going to be putting that out June 1st. So that's something to promote.
Oh, right on. It is, man. That's great. Okay. Well, do you have a YouTube channel already? What's the YouTube channel?
Yeah, actually, you could look up my name, but I actually just put it under like a production company name. So it's going to be @Lookaway Entertainment.
Okay.
So that's because I decided I'm gonna make it a production company name for the YouTube channel. So that way, like when I'm working on this new thing, which I will be calling Brave New Warrior, because I'm worried about the future.
Oh, I love that.
That's going to be all.
Dude, this is a brilliant idea for a show. I'll watch the show immediately. I love this, man.
Thanks, man. And that's kind of like, for people like me and yourself, I feel like that's my hope is that I like the notion of the idea. So right. I think that's going to attract people, and I'm happy with the name because it's like something that you immediately know what it is just by saying the name.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So I'm looking forward to kind of putting that together. So I was sidetracked to edit this whole damn thing because I realized, you know what, I don't have like something solid on my YouTube channel, and so like I wanted to have like a good, you know, special to just showcase what I do. So that way, if people come to my channel for this, for Brave New Warrior, they'll like go, oh well, what's this guy do? Oh, he does stand up. Let's see what it looks like, you know, that kind of thing. So that's coming up. I'll be putting that up June 1st, as I said. So in the next day or two, I'm going to put up a promo on Instagram and Twitter and all those places.
Yeah, good. Right on. All right. Well, I'll plug that in the bio and the description of the video and stuff too, so that the four people who watch my show can go see your show.
You know what? It's just, and then they tell two people, and then they tell two people.
Yeah, I've been working that game for a while. I've been hoping it just multiplies. All it takes is one, man. All it takes is one thing that everybody I've talked to, because since COVID, I've been doing this YouTube channel thing and pushing my social media and updating my website, and I did all this stuff. I got this show and I got a couple other shows, but everybody I talk to that really has a ton of followers and stuff, I always ask them, what'd you do, man? Is there a trick? They go, no, there's no trick. Because you get one that goes viral. Because you get something that goes viral. When something goes viral, suddenly you hit, and when you hit, everything hits, and you're like, oh. All right, I was talking to someone the other day. He had one. Oh, I think it was Keon Pooley. He's really good at this. He's like, he did some stuff during COVID that got really popular, got some heat. But then we were on the road together working, and he goes, here's a perfect example. He goes, here's a video I shot 6 years ago that's trending now. And I go, how's that? He goes, because people start to watch your stuff, and then they look through your other stuff, and they go down a rabbit hole, and then enough people watch one video, and then it trends. He goes, the more content you put up, eventually it all hits and goes viral. He goes, now I just picked up like another 100 million or 100 hits, 100,000 hits and all this stuff. And you're like, wow, all right. So it just takes a couple to get viral for people to notice. And most of my stuff, I am learning this because this show is long format. And I still think there's room. I think in the long run, there's going to be room for this format because eventually the networks and TVs are going to be gone and everybody's watching streaming services, and YouTube is becoming bigger as far as streaming, especially they got football next year. You know what I mean? Which is, it's a huge deal. Yeah, they got all the NFL. So YouTube, I think it's user friendly for people that are in the older generation, like boomers and around that age, because boomers are going to lose network TV soon, and a lot of them don't do the phones and the TikToks and the Insta. I think YouTube is a good format for them to go on, search something, and I think they'll buy and watch long form content on YouTube, like a hour long, like this is a long interview, our show, or like your show maybe would be 30 minutes or however long you wanted your episode to be.
Yeah.
But to build, I've also learned this, the short, quick videos that you put out, that's where you get the hits. I also do YouTube Shorts, and I'm getting thousands of hits on those. Literally, the show only gets a few. And every once in a while, I'll get a few good followers, and I'll do one episode that does well. The podcast is helping. But the YouTube Shorts, man, I'll get one. It's like, bam. It's like 8,000 followers or 8,000 hits within a day. I'm like, oh, my God. All right. Yeah. And it's a short attention span medium in a lot of ways. But I hope the short attention span medium feeds them to the long form. And eventually people watch the content. Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
Yeah, the hope is like kind of they watch the thing, and then like if you have a little promo at the end of the short,
right,
to direct them to long form. That's what I was going to do is make my show, and then the best clips use them as shorts to then direct if they're interested in the concept, they might want to check out the full thing.
Right, and it's helped me a little bit. There. It's helped me a little bit here and there. But I still think in the long run that because a lot of people go, you shouldn't. No one wants to do a podcast or a video podcast. Nobody watches those anymore. And I think eventually people are going to switch to watching those. I think they're going to just start watching the long form on YouTube because the network TV stuff it's going away. And now, everybody's got a platform now. HBO just redid their platform. Everybody's got a different. You have to have a different app for everything. That's why I think YouTube is so valuable. There's so much stuff on YouTube. If they just search your name and then they come up with your channel and they're into your stuff, all your stuff is right there on one channel.
Yeah, and with the writer strike and the upcoming possible SAG actor strike, that's just more reason there won't be as much. There might be a bit of a hold on mainstream content. So
Well, they're going to
We'll
rerun.
see.
They've got so much content now. That's the thing.
Of course, they've got so much. Of course they do. Yes.
They've got stuff they've never aired yet. They've got stuff that they've aired that they could
Yeah.
bring back. They could run whole seasons of shows that people will go, I'll watch The Sopranos again or whatever,
Yeah.
And shit, they're rebooting everything too. I mean, every time you turn around.
And they can play that until the computers catch up and the AI can write everything and act.
Yeah, that's my fear. I feel terrible for the writers. Like I know SAG, I mean, most of my stuff is stand up, so I don't act much or I do my auditions, and I got my pension through SAG and all that, and I see where that could be a problem. But I think more for writers, this is a bad situation because they're trying to turn writers into what we are. We're comics. We're basically gig guys. We hustle for our next gig.
Yeah.
There's no long-term contract thing unless we're a writer. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, I've had a writing job, but the only time I had a long-term contract was when I was under a production umbrella. So they're trying to eliminate these writers, and they can do it because they can eliminate maybe 40% right off the top of the writing that they do just for the bullshit promo and the quick clips and the quick hot, you know what I mean, for a lot of stuff. But all the deep writing stuff, and I think part of the problem too is that they're kind of training with the strikes. They'll put all this shit content out, and they're training people to settle for crap. And then it won't matter if AI is writing. Nobody will care. Nobody will know the difference between a good show and a bad show anymore.
It's funny. I want to say that I think people have settled for crap since television started. I think you look back at all the TV before. In fact, TV got so good that we forgot how bad it was.
Yeah. I do. There's I always joke now because there's so much stuff on these platforms. All have their own shows. Like I just started watching Yellowstone. I just started getting into that, and I'm into the first season. But what I'm noticing with these shows, they get popular, and then I'll watch the show until I figure out, like the Yellowstone is basically the Sopranos in Montana. That's basically almost exactly what it is, and I like the characters, but eventually I'll watch a show, and once I figure out the format and the pattern, that's the thing. Once I figure out a pattern on a show, I'm done. I'm lost because I'll know 15 minutes in the protagonist comes in, and then it's not this guy, it's the other. And now they go back to the house and they have the meeting. Because then it becomes repetitive. Like I used to love to watch. I used to love to watch Law and Order and all those old any detective show on TV. I used to love it, but the pattern is so predictable now. I can't do it. I know immediately it's not that guy. It's his brother. I'll know 4 minutes into the show.
Right. Right. I wonder if people like it for comfort food too. Right. Like the predictability becomes comfort.
Well, I used to play it in the background when I was doing stuff, kind of like what I do at baseball. Like I'll play a baseball game in the background when I'm cleaning or doing cooking or whatever. And it's a pattern. So I guess you're familiar with the pattern. And one thing I will do, though, is I'll still sit down occasionally and watch that Criminal Intent one, only because I loved Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal of that character. It's such phenomenal acting. Like every once in a while the acting will be so good. I'll go, oh, man, that's fantastic. I really love it. And D'Onofrio, I never got tired of that character. Very quirky, different, and he's a great actor. And for years I loved the Stabler character on SVU. But now he's become. Sometimes these guys become caricatures of themselves. And I love that actor. Right. Christopher Merloni is great. I think he's. Have you ever seen him do comedy?
No, actually, I have to look him up so that way I can know, because I don't know him by name.
Look up Chris Merloni. He was in Superman. He played the general, but he his biggest part of, obviously, he came back and did Stabler on Law and Order SVU.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
But
yeah, I could see him. He has a bit of a smirk. You could see him doing comedy.
There's a movie he's in. I gotta find out the movie. He played a character on Scrubs.
He looks like he's got a little something funny hiding behind that face.
Dude, he's hilarious. His comedy is I mean, I laugh hard. I'm trying to think. He had a part on Scrubs where he plays a pediatrician. It is every scene he steals. It is the funniest thing in the world. Oh,
that's a Chicago flag behind you.
This is all Chicago stuff behind me, bro. Yeah, that's
occasionally eat at Gino's East. You ever go to Gino's East?
Yeah, I love Gino's East, man. They do. They're very the guys that own that place. I'll tell you what, man. They're hit or miss sometimes, man. Sometimes they're like perfect, and sometimes the pizza's not cooked enough, and it's a little off. I mean, I'm from Chicago, so I'm a little picky.
Yeah.
But I got to give those guys tremendous credit, dude. Those guys they opened up before COVID. I was there for the soft open. I was there for the grand opening.
Did they open just before COVID? I didn't realize that.
A year or two. Yeah, they had a soft open. I remember it was my birthday, and I remember they were coming because they were delayed a year. My brother and all the Chicago guys knew. We're like, oh, they're coming, and they got delayed like a year. And then we found out when it was going to open. And then they had a thing where you went online and signed in to try to get on the soft open, which was the Friday and Saturday before the week they opened. and I won it. I got in for the Friday, which is my birthday. So me and my oldest daughter went in, and I met the owners, and they were they're writers, the guys that wrote on TV shows back in the 80s and the late 70s and stuff. They're from Chicago. They bought it. Now, Gino's East just started franchising a few years ago, so they bought one, opened it here. And when they opened during COVID, man, I thought they were going to open that place and just let guys run it and walk away and be the owners type of thing. You know what I mean? We have a manager. Those guys are in there every day. And during COVID,
I know. Whenever I go there's a couple of white-haired guys that I
that's the guys, man.
Who you're talking about.
Yeah, they're cool dudes.
I thought to myself, these guys must have worked in like radio or something. They had a quality to them that I thought like they must work in some element of the business. So the fact
they were writers. They wrote on. We talked a while. I can't remember some of the shows they did. In fact, we were talking about the detective shows, almost like I want to say Murder She Wrote, Columbo, a couple other things. Maybe I might be wrong. Around that type of time. But during COVID, especially, I mean, they were in there every day during COVID. I mean, they busted their ass to make that place. To keep that place alive, because it opened so close to COVID. Then when COVID hit, I was like, oh my God, that place will never survive. I mean, it'll just, it was one of those places I thought would eat it. But they were in there every day, man. And to this day, you go in there. I go in there every once in a while, man. I like their thin. I'll get the thin from them because I was a big fan of the Chicago thin. So, and whenever there's a Chicago playoff game or something, sometimes we go watch a Bears game there. But when the White Sox were in the playoffs, we went there for a day to watch the White Sox. The pizza's, they do a good job, man. Yeah. I love it, man. I love when they do it perfect. It's great. It's money. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it's like a good. Actually, I found like a lot of their stuff was good. Like I just found like it was like, oh, they care about this stuff. They care to make it the best that they can, kind of thing. And so that and the Chicago memorabilia everywhere looked kind of cool too.
Dude, I'm a big fan of that stuff. I'm huge. I got that.
I figured that's why I brought it up because actually one of the waiters was wearing a hat. And I saw that flag on it, and I was like, wait a second, what's that flag? Looked it up. That's why I knew that was a Chicago flag.
Chicago, yeah. I got something. We're trying to do. We just moved in this place maybe 2 months ago, and excuse me. I just hung up. So I got a Chicago thing there. I got to come out with some other stuff. But we're gonna do black and white pics of old Chicago all over the living room area. I want to do black and white old Chicago and Old Valley. Have you ever seen? You ever gone to the the mall over here, Westfield over here on Riverside? And,
yeah.
If you go in some of those hallways, they have those big pictures and paintings of the valley back in the 50s, like Ventura Boulevard and Laurel Canyon, or a really cool one is Sepulveda, Dickens, that three-way right by where the 405 is now. There's a gas station, there's a Trader Joe's, there's it's by the radio building, the USA Radio Building, that big intersection.
Hazeltine, I think.
Sepulveda, Ventura.
Sorry, that's further. Sorry, you said Trader Joe's, so I just automatically thought.
Yeah, but there's Trader Joe's back there it's Whole Foods. That's the original Whole Foods is back there. The small Whole Foods, because I live across the big Whole Foods is over here now, on Ventura, not too far from where we're at. Right. And then the smaller one is over there, and it's behind that little triway. There's the El Pollo Loco at the corner of Dickens, Sepulveda, and then Ventura is just about a half block south. But it's a picture from like 1959, so there's nothing there, but the streets still lay out the same. It's really cool to see where there's like one thing that's there. Like, oh, that gas station is still there. So I love that shit. I love seeing that stuff. Yeah. Or like Dupar's is a good one, like that old Laurel Canyon picture of the old Dupar's that used to be over there. And that's gone now. Mm-hmm. But for years, that Dupar's was at Laurel and Ventura right around the corner there. And that was famous.
Yeah, it's nice when you got a little piece of history somewhere. Just something to hold on to that's not all corporate, Like places, it's like when places get gentrified. It's like, damn, almost the best time is like when something gets gentrified, that were they just starting to get gentrified. So you still have all the ethnicity, all those great restaurants and grocery stores that but then you have a couple of places that are, a little bit newer.
Right.
But then once it turns over and then you lose all the ethnicity, it's like, I don't want to be there anymore.
Well, that's like Sportsman's Lodge. Have you been over to that complex yet since they redid that?
I mean, I call it the Erewhon Mall because it's just I feel like that's the the level that we're talking about.
It's completely it's not, none of it is the same. It's so, because I used to go there before. My wife used to work there. It was the first job my wife at the time had when she moved here, was a bartender at Sportsman's Lodge. And we used to go there, and we used to rent a room to play cards and have dinner there or whatever. But now it's completely gone. There's a burger place back there. And there are all these new trendy burger things that you don't know of. They've never heard of. And I mean, the food's good, but you go back there and it's so new age. You're walking around, and Sportsman's Lodge was a famous, but Charlton Heston was a regular there. So my wife used to wait on him every afternoon. So he would come in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he'd come in and have a drink and, talk to my wife and tip him barely any money because that's the type of guy he was, and then he would leave. But yeah, it was a joint where
cheapskate.
yeah, but that place, like Brown Derby, places where older generation guys would come in, or like I'm going to Musso and Frank's Friday. That's a place that's still there, at least,
It's still there, yeah.
Yeah, but these places disappear, and when they're gone, you're like, God, that's such a history of.
Yeah, actually, I never went to Sportsman Lodge before. Like, when we moved here, it was already being renovated, so I don't know what it was like before. I never went there, so I was curious. I was curious as to what, because what they have now. Look, I'm gonna be honest. Like the environment itself, the stores I don't really care about, but I actually kind of like the huge tree and that little river that they made. Looks nice. Like that part actually looks nice.
Well, they had the river before, and the river had ducks and these fish. So this is one thing it was kind of famous for. You could sit on the patio and look down, and this cool little river that went right through the patio area. So it was pretty neat. So they had it, but they just kind of moved it around and changed it a little bit. So, and they have it. It's beautiful back there. It's just newer. There was always before you could go. They used to do a lot of weddings there, so you could do a wedding or any type of banquet function, but do the outside patio, and it was beautiful. You're outside, surrounded by the trees. The river went through. It was really kind of a nice vibe. And
right.
I think they can still do that there, but I'm not totally sure. And then at night it used to turn into then it became like a meat market bar thing. Where it was. Where you didn't want to be, remember those old bars where there's the testosterone is really heavy and people are doing shots and it's one and people are trying to get picked up and get laid and you're like, it's loud music. I'm like, I can't. It's not my vibe anymore. I can't do that.
Too much. Yeah. Never my vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but it's a nice area over there, man. I love that it's they changed it. It's not bad. All of the valley, like all this stuff. One of the reasons we stayed in Sherman Oaks, all of Ventura Boulevard, man, they're knocking a bunch of this shit down. And they're putting up newer buildings, newer restaurants, nicer places. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that we like. The fact because we're in walking distance to, we go to, there's On the 30 is real close by, and what else is over there? The girls went to Furley's the other night, so my daughter's 21, so she can walk over to Furley's. But we can walk to the In-N-Out and pretty much everything in that area. So, and they put there's two really cool restaurants they put in down. Just past the Whole Foods, it's a sushi place, and then across the street from it is a Mexican place. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I think they're owned by the same.
They are.
I think they're owned by the same guys.
They are. Oh, same guy owned them. He came from On the 30, I think, and then opened those places. They're both dynamite. The food's great at both of them. I mean, the foods. They do a Kobe taco at the Mexican place, and then the sushi is really good across the street at the other place. They're but they're putting places like that all over Ventura Boulevard. So it's kind of being upgraded with kind of newer, hipper restaurants. So it's a cool area to live because then you can just walk to everything. Well, we talked about your YouTube thing. Is there anything else you want to throw out there you want to talk about? Well, first of all, we're going to plug your social media in the bio and all that stuff.
Yeah. Now that I'm done that thing, I'm going to be putting up a lot of reels and stuff, so people can see my stand up, and then soon those reels will turn into Brave New Warrior reels.
Dude, put up the shorts, man. Put them on YouTube and make them shorts, and that's how the hits keep coming. I mean, I don't have many followers, but I'm noticing most of my hits are coming from those shorts and stuff.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Brave New Warrior sounds brilliant, dude. That sounds like a great idea. You gotta let me know when that's up.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks,
man.
It's
ready to go. No problem, man. You want to plug socials or anything like that? What? I got Alex.
I'm at Alex Nussbaum everywhere. On YouTube, my special will be on Look Away Entertainment at Look Away Entertainment. But if you look up Alex Nussbaum, you'll probably find me there too. So
perfect. You'll find him or the guy from Bloomberg. So if you have any questions about politics or the news.
Sure, he can inform you very well.
You can, or you should just start giving away bullshit news information as Alex Nussbaum.
Yeah. That's right. I might as well get his runoff.
Sure, I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Yeah. And they'll start quoting you on CNN. That'll be the best. Alex Nussbaum says this. No, he didn't. Yeah, you did. It says right here.
He did. It's right here. I gave him shouldn't have given him my handle.
All right, buddy. Dude, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it, man. You're the best. You're still watching? That's amazing. Nobody does that. Nobody, but you did. That means you want more. Pick one of these clips. Go for it. I dare you. Hey, also follow one of those social media thingies.